Welcome to Lakers Talk with Gerald, episode 144. Everybody, we just had a disappointing loss. The Lakers just lost to the New Orleans Pelicans for the third time this game. That was a must win. We needed this win to secure or try to get closer to making a play-in spot to try to make the playoffs. We are currently in 11th place. Once again, this game was kind of marred because Anthony Davis just came back after missing over a month and a half, something like that. LeBron James just came back after missing 2 games or so with a twisted ankle. So this was a game that we had our big three back in the lineup for, I think, maybe the 21st time this year out of 77 games. So this is something that we figured, hey, with these guys back, we have a great chance to win this game. But even with all that, we still managed to not win this game to a New Orleans Pelicans who are currently in 9th place. And they were a team that we were just one game back in the loss column from them. So it really would have helped if we would have won this game. It would have still would have had us that much closer to making that playing spot. Now, with that being said, with the loss from tonight, we are now 3 games back of New Orleans Pelicans for that 3 spot with only 5 games left in the regular season. So, and New Orleans have the tiebreaker with us. So even though we're 3 games back, even if we tied them, they would still have the tiebreaker. So we essentially would have to win 4 games out of the 5, and they would have to lose technically all 5. So we're not going to get that 9th place spot. Our only hope now is the 5th place spot. Is the 10th place spot. And San Antonio currently holds that. And they hold a 1.5 game lead on us. Now, we're 1 game back of them in the loss column. But once again, there's only 5 games left. So for us to overtake them, we would have to play extremely well in the last 5 games. We would have to win at least 3 of the 5 games. And then we would have to count on San Antonio losing at least 3 of their 5. That's going to be, the odds against that is really low. And once again, as far as the tiebreaker, if we were to tie San Antonio, they have the tiebreaker. So that makes it even harder for us. So we can't just tie them in these 5 games. If we go 4-5, win 4 games out of 5, and let's say they won 3 out of 5, we would be tied with them. And that wouldn't cut it. We need to get it to where we have 1 game better than them. And so our scheduled 5 games, strength of schedule is very, very hard. We play a lot of really good teams in our last 5 games, whereas San Antonio, they don't have as hard of a schedule. In fact, they just played Portland Trail Blazers, who a lot of their starters aren't even playing. We already know they're really not trying to win. So San Antonio just played them tonight, and they beat them by 15 to 20 points. And guess what? They're going to play them again their very next game at home. And most likely they're going to beat them again. So now it's going to make it that much more tough for us to somehow get a playing spot. Now, on the bright side, we do have Anthony Davis back. He looked good. We do have LeBron James back. He looked damn good. He looked like himself for the most part. You could tell that ankle's bothering him, but he still managed to score 38 points pretty efficiently. We have Russell Westbrook. We have pretty much everybody back for the most part, except Carmelo Anthony. He was out with some kind of illness, non-COVID related. Everybody, it really is not looking good for us, man. We really thought we had something at the beginning of the season. It looked so good. With getting Westbrook, even though we knew he had his deficiencies, we knew he wasn't a good 3-point shooter. We knew he wasn't a good mid-range shooter, but we figured at the minimum, he would relieve some pressure when LeBron James goes to the bench. He could run the offense. He could score some points. He can give us that extra fuel when LeBron was on the bench. At least last year, that's what it seemed like we were deficient in. At least one of the things we were deficient in. So at a minimum, we thought, hey, we were going to be at least that much better. He's going to give relief when LeBron James on the bench. Unfortunately, that didn't come to fruition. It didn't really play out like that. He didn't really live up to what we thought we would have. For some reason, it didn't really mesh well. And look, it is what it is. The last couple weeks, Westbrook has been playing a lot better, a lot more efficient. Been hitting his threes, been playing a lot better, been less turnovers, and he's been playing well. But that hasn't equated to wins for us as a team. So disappointing, once again, disappointing loss. This is a game that it went back and forth throughout the game. It was tied at halftime. Third quarter, LeBron James goes off for 21 points in the third quarter to, it was a couple of times we were up by 6 points in the third quarter. Unfortunately, we let them kind of, by the end of the third quarter, they managed to get only down by 1 entering the fourth. And it was just back and forth all game. No team had more than a 6-point lead. Unfortunately, really just in that fourth quarter, the way I see it, we just ran play after play. In the third quarter, LeBron James had 31 points, 38 points. He had 21 points in the third quarter. Overall, 38 points. Fourth quarter, we barely ran plays for LeBron. We barely ran the offense through LeBron. When LeBron was in, the offense was going through Russell Westbrook. We were getting it through Monk. We were getting it to Anthony Davis, but it was rarely getting run through LeBron James, which, at first I'm like, okay, what's going on? Let Russ run it a little bit. But then, at one point we had the lead and I'm like, okay, now let's run it back through LeBron. We know he's the safer bet. We know he knows how to run the offense better. He's less turnover prone. He's arguably the best player ever. So this was a prime situation where we should kind of let him kind of run the offense, but we didn't do that. And there was a couple times when our offense went dry, and then just the whole game, we could not stop them on defense. They just kept getting in the paint and just little floaters, little mid-range, and we just could not stop them. They're hitting all of their mid-range. They were hitting all of their floaters. We just could not stop them on defense. So, that was one big thing. The other big thing is our free throws. We missed a lot of free throws. We missed over 9 to 10 free throws in this game, and that surely cost us. Anthony Davis in the fourth quarter down the stretch, we had a chance to, I think we were up 3, and we had a chance. We were either up 3 or 1, and he had 2 free throws, and we had a chance to go up, by 2 more points, but he missed both free throws. Then they came back and got fouled, and then they made both of their free throws. So made one or both. They were making their free throws, and we just weren't. We're the second to worst free throw shooting team in the league, which is another reason why we're just not winning these games. We have so many close games, so many games where we're up by a bunch of points, and we let the other team come back and either take us to overtime or win. And it's just not a winning solution. It's going to take a miracle. It's going to take the Lakers playing like they haven't played all season in these last 5 games. It's going to take us, playing. This is our schedule. We play Denver next, then Phoenix, who has the best record in the NBA, then Golden State, then Oklahoma City, who has come back twice on us, when we were up by 20-something plus game points, and they came back and won, and Denver. So that is a tough schedule. Somehow we got to win at least 3 to 4 of those games, and we haven't proven we can do that yet. The good side is that we do have LeBron back, we do have AD back, and we got Westbrook. So if they're going to do something, here's the time to show us something. And we also got to depend on, like I said, San Antonio Spurs. Somehow just not doing very well their last 4 to 5 games, which, it's hard when you have to depend on another team to help us get in. For example, if San Antonio runs the board and wins all their games, no matter what we do, we're done. Even if we win our last 5 games, we're done. We're out of the playoffs. Cancun time, start looking into how we can make our team better in the off season and just pack it up. But where there's a will, there's a way. We still have a chance. I'm not going to count us out to, that old saying, the big lady sings, being politically correct. So not going to count us out. I'm going to play a post-game interview of Frank Vogel talking about this game. And before I do that, though, let's go over the standings really quick just so we can see it. I like to talk about the Lakers, 5 games left in the regular season. Tough teams. San Antonio have a little better schedule than we do. So right now, 9th place, New Orleans Pelicans, they're 34-43. San Antonio Spurs in 10th place, 32-45. And then here we are in 11th place at 31-46. So that's 1 game back of San Antonio Spurs. Like I said, that's essentially 2 games back, because even if we tied them, San Antonio still has a tiebreaker. So with 5 games left, consider us 2 games back, meaning if San Antonio Spurs won 3 out of the next 5 games and we won all 5, we would be tied. Or excuse me, if they won 4 out of the next 5 and we won all 5, we would be tied with them. And they would get the tiebreaker and they would win. So let's say they went 3-5. We would have to win 5 games, all 5 of our games. So that's going to be hard for us to do. That's what we're looking at. No game is good. San Antonio just going to have to slip up. If they're going to have to lose like 2 or 3 out of the next 5 for us to have a chance. Other than that, I mean, we may be packing it up. So everybody, here is a post-game interview by Frank Vogel, the coach of the Lakers.
He returns for the first time since February 16th. He goes for 23, 12, and 6. Russ has 12 and 5 assists. Let's hear Frank Vogel speak with Mike in the media.
Frank, what do you think the difference was down the stretch after you'd built about a 5-point lead with 4-ish minutes to go?
Yeah, they just made more plays than us. You know, we missed some free throws. They hit a couple tough floaters, B.I. and McCollum. You know, we had one breakdown where we didn't get out to Valanciunas. He made the 3, and we didn't convert offensively down the stretch. You know, we had a couple good looks that didn't go in for us, and they just made more plays down the stretch.
The math starts to get pretty tricky for getting into that final playing spot at this point, Frank. What's the mentality there, and what's the level of
win as many games as we can? It's going to be tough to catch this team, obviously, now with the lead they have and the tiebreaker. But we have plenty of time to win as many games as we can down the stretch, and see what happens with San Antonio.
Frank, how do you feel like AD and LeBron came out of this one, and do you feel like their workload coming off the layoff had any effect in terms of fatigue down the stretch?
Yeah, I think potentially, in terms of those guys making plays down the stretch. But, this is a, playoff mindset type of game. So those guys want to be in there, communicating constantly throughout the game. And, I think both of them would say probably not. It's a playoff game. You got to be in there. You got to compete.
Frank, going forward, do you look at your schedule and San Antonio's schedule, or is it just one game at a time for you guys?
I don't look at San Antonio at all. I mean, obviously we'll find out what their scores look like, but our focus has got to be on what we can control, and that's winning the next game.
Frank, obviously any game like this, you have to make tough decisions about rotation. Talon and Austin don't play. You go with Dwight, and Avery obviously made that big shot at the end. What was sort of your mentality, and who played in this game, and who didn't, and what you made of the guys who were able to be in the rotation tonight?
Yeah, I mean, that's a playoff series, this is a playoff game for us, and so you use the roster however you feel, however you see fit in terms of that matchup. And obviously, C.J. McCollum and Brandon Ingram as a tandem, and Valanciunas, like those 3 guys are as good as just about any 3 that you can put together in the league. That's why they're one of the hottest teams in the league, and that's why we liked what Avery could bring to the table, using Dwight on Jonas as much as possible, Stanley some, and those guys fell out of the rotation because of the matchup.
Frank, we've talked a lot about mental toughness with this team and the ability to kind of handle all the adversity that's been thrown at it out of the gate, turnovers, a big issue down the stretch, missed free throws, turnovers again. How much of that do you think was sort of the moment? Do you think, like you said, it's the stakes being so high for a group that hasn't really been together?
It's tough to say. I just think it's the nature of the disjointed season that we've had. These guys haven't been on the floor in 6 weeks together, and played last night. A tough travel situation, getting in late and having to come in and play an important game today. Just fell short. But, those are little things that are the difference between winning and losing. Turning the basketball over, committing to getting great shots every time down. The defensive execution, of our schemes and our coverages. And, credit the Pelicans. They played a great game. They knocked down all their free throws. They won a free throw game tonight. And, those two guys made big shots down the stretch, guarded shots. And honestly, throughout the night, CJ and Brandon made a number of well-guarded pull-up jump shots. Which is, as a coach, that's what you want to, you have to give something up. You want to give those up, but credit those guys for making big shots.
Lakers are down to their final 5 games, and on Sunday it's an early one against the Nuggets. The game is at 12:30 on ABC.
There you have it. That was the coach, Frank Vogel. You can hear my sighs because, man, that's all I could do is it's another frustrating loss. We really wanted this victory. We didn't get it. There you go. It's going to be tough to try to catch New Orleans Pelicans. It's damn near impossible, really, so we shouldn't even be thinking about them. The next team that we have, only team we have a chance to catch up to is the San Antonio Spurs, but we got to just take it by trying to win each game because we haven't proven we can beat any successful or good team yet. And when we do, it takes a Herculean effort from LeBron James and, the rest of the team to do it. So, man, and we would have to repeat that 5 games in a row against 5 good teams. It's going to be tough, everybody. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer or think negatively. I'm always thinking positive. We always got a shot until we're out of this hunt. I'm not going to give up. We still got a chance, but hey, like I said, the positive point, we have LeBron James back. We have Anthony Davis back, and we have, for the majority of the team, is healthy. So if any time we need to get a run, to get a push, it's the perfect storm or the perfect time now that we have all these guys back. Now it's time to do it. It's time to put up or shut up. And either way, I'm always going to be proud of my Lakers. This season was not very good, but hey, it's not over yet. Everybody, that's going to do it. Episode 144, Lakers Talk with Gerald. Thank you for joining me. I'm officially out.